Welcome back, everyone, to NRE Wrestlverse Podcast, Episode 8. I made it this far. I haven't gone off the rails yet. A lot of topics to cover in this week of wrestling, and oh boy, there's a lot. So WWE 1993 Monday Night Raw. Wrestling fans have been so used to it, it's just a mere idea of it going to another night is so foreign a concept when they were forced to at times. But despite everything that's happened, they have never shied away from Monday Night Raw. Every week, Monday, 8 p.m. Nick Khan says that he admits that Raw could air any night of the week. So, Khan, the false Khan, made the claim during a talk at the JP Morgan Global Technology, Media, and Communications Conference, with Khan referencing the fact that WWE content could feasibly air any night of the week, flagship shows included. No stranger to doing that, because with the SmackDown being originally a Thursday night show when it debuted in 1999, before it went to Friday, then it went on to Tuesday, and then it went back to Thursday, and now it's back on Friday. And Raw itself has seen several instances where the show did not air on Monday nights, but on the whole has been permanent fixture at the beginning of the week, with SmackDown currently airing on Friday nights, NXT on Tuesdays, and it'll be interesting to see the landscape if the Red Brand was to switch nights. I think even die-hard WWE fans who watch nothing but WWE religiously, I feel like they're not gonna like that idea. Mostly because you're telling them to adapt to another night. Like they could with SmackDown and they could with NXT, but Raw being the show that's been constantly on a Monday for the most of their time, I'm pretty sure they'll self-destruct and their circulatory system will completely collapse in on itself. So let's hope Nick Khan doesn't think that. Meanwhile, WWE's status for the infamous, disgraceful, and oh my god, how on earth is he even getting this far in life after everything he's done? And that's not counting the Japan incidents. We're talking about the crypto scams and how he has not been arrested for fraud. Logan Paul. We got an update on his status on him for Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, with WrestleVotes speaking with Give Me Sport, has reported that Paul is being discussed with the big summer show, saying, I have sources telling me that he works 2 pay-per-views this summer, the London show and then obviously SummerSlam. It's almost expected that he's on those cards, and the only create that I can find out is that he's likely to be inside Money in the Bank though, but Reborn, not a guarantee. Yeah, considering how much he's adapted to professional wrestling, I tragically have to admit that. Yeah, I can see him definitely being in the Money in the Bank match, where he'll do a SummerSlam. Oh, that was an exhausting day. What I can see him do at SummerSlam, I'm pretty sure they're going to run back the feud with Seth Rollins. Let's just hope he doesn't win it this time again. Let's hope he doesn't win again against Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins should destroy him again. And they could bring in KSI to get revenge, even though he's not interested in wrestling. Just do it. Just do anything just to get him away from the world title. Meanwhile, there's been an update on the status of Drew McIntyre on the chances of him re-signing with WWE. And yeah. WrestleVotes said in an interview, saying, I expect when the dust settles both of them stay. The WWE wants them to stay, 1,000 back to the end. Let's say a percentage lower. They love them both, but as at any top flight stars, they should see what else is out there. I don't believe WWE is worried about that. Becky Lynch, I could imagine sticking around. Drew, that's ultimately his opinion. But, mainly Becky might have less time, considering she wants to do Hollywood eventually, hopefully, probably, maybe, no idea on that. But before she got pregnant, she was being eyed for a Marvel role, which would have been awesome. But Seth Rollins had to botch that moment by having her pregnant. I kid. Congrats to Seth and Becky on their child, and all the creepy psychopaths on Twitter when the baby was born. Please stop. Oh my god, just what the hell was that day? So even though WWE has repeatedly told the roster about this subject, and they assured them we will be doing cuts, but it will be mainly production offices. It will not affect the talent on TV. We are perfectly safe. Wrestleverse basically reveals, that was basically a lie. Now, to be fair, there is a chance he's wrong here. He even admits he's hopefully wrong on this one. And he even says and mentions expecting it. But he said this: I don't know names at all, but I know a source that has said to expect a minor batch of releases prior to July 1st. I think that's just business. Hopefully I'm wrong on that one. But I would expect prior to the second half of this year a few cuts just because the circumstances the company finds themselves in right now. AKA, even though we assured you that this was not going to happen, we're going to do it anyways. Yeah, I'm sure Morale's going to be loving that idea. But, yeah, that was annoying when I heard that. I was like, oh god. We all remember Black Wednesday. Or was it Black Thursday? Either way, it was one of those 2 days. It was 2020. We were just enjoying ourselves when the massive amount of releases happened and everyone flipped their shit. And then it happened again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And then AEW and all the other promoters were like, yeah, you know what, Nick Khan, maybe you should stick around. You're doing a good job firing at everybody you have, so we can benefit off of that. But, there has been an update on the AEW front with Collision's reveal. Andrade El Idolo seems set to his return, and Wrestling Observer Radio's Dave Meltzer, so take it for what you will, suggests that Andrade should be ready to wrestle by the time Collision debuts on June 17th, saying Andrade will be back in time because Andrade booked. Andrade is actually working a show in Mexico 2 days before, which I believe is going to be the first match back, so he should be back in that show. On that show and ready to go after surgery to repair a torn pec. So, just to remind people, he underwent surgery back in November to fix a torn pec, last wrestling for 2022 as part of the Casino Ladder match. Awesome match. But, yeah, that was a day. Especially when all that drama happened. And the fight with Sammy Goldberg probably didn't help matters. So heading into Night of Champions, Triple H showed up and cameoed, where Triple H showed up to talk to Cody Rhodes to convince him not to wrestle, and yeah, Cody Rhodes actually in this storyline that happened where Cody Rhodes was confirmed by Triple H saying, "Don't wrestle, kid." Accordingly, this was apparently a real-life confrontation. This is based off the real-life confrontation between Bryan Danielson and Triple H, where Bryan and Triple H had that kind of same argument. This is actually the worked version when Hunter, according to Wrestling Observer, Brian Alvarez, this is actually the worked version when Hunter stopped that Bryan Danielson match and Daniel Bryan wanted to fight him in the back where Hunter's trying to tell him you can't do this, and Cody's just furiously explaining, bro, you did the same thing, you've done this thousands of times, what would you do? And this was after this was the incident where during a no DQ match, Randy Orton gave him a stinger injury, losing feeling in both arms, at which point Triple H told the WWE medical team at ringside to stop the match, and Bryan got pissed and was furious at the match being stopped, which led to him trying to go nose to nose with Triple H when the American Dragon arrived backstage, because Bryan is a psychopath and cannot be stopped. So at least I wonder how Bryan feels that they kind of took the real incident and brought it to life. I bet there's still a little bit of a on that. So, on the Kurt Angle Show podcast, Kurt Angle revealed that Vince McMahon decided to do a very interesting thing back when Shawn Michaels and him fought at WrestleMania all those years ago. Man, those were the days. Vince McMahon, according to Kurt Angle, allowed them to decide who the winner would be. He didn't have a winner. He said he had us work it out between ourselves. And Shawn said, listen, I'll put you over because I know this is what he said, and I totally forgot this. He said, you know what? You're going to end up doing a program with Cena afterwards, and what you need is a good win right now. So that's why I knew I was going to work with Cena, even though I didn't. I thought it was going to work with Cena. Yeah, because Shawn told me you should get the title, you should get the win right here because you're going to be paired up against Cena after this. And he would get his win back in vengeance. And I'm just that guy that's sitting here saying, oh my gosh, Shawn Michaels is being smart. Now, if only you could apply this to NXT, then we'd be in business. Because, remember how we had wrestling feuds nowadays in WWE where the loser somehow got the world title feud going for him and the winner just disappeared or went back into mid-card? Yeah, remember that? Or when they decided at WrestleMania during the pandemic, Kevin Owens, who was scheduled to leave after Mania, would go instead, leave, beat Seth Rollins, but then Seth Rollins would feud for the world title because that made sense to some high-induced moron. So, wrestling fans had... But at least we got a damn good match, and it made sense with how Shawn Michaels argued for it. But speaking of wrestling stuff, related matters about the past, Dark Side of the Ring came back, and on May 15th, Vice TV, Vice Media specifically, filed for bankruptcy! So on May 15th, Vice filed for bankruptcy, but it's expected to be sold, with Vice stating that they expect to continue to operate during the proceedings. When asked how the Vice situation could affect Dark Side of the Ring, co-creator Evan Hunstein said the following to the Nocturnal. All indications that have been briefed on told that this basically changes nothing for Dark Side of the Ring and for the health of the show. And for the show airing and all that stuff, everything's on track and everything is just like it would have been in any other circumstance. So everything is business as usual. My God. Well, at least we still get our depressing content and visual imagery of wrestling and how we grew up to be fans about this, even with the fucked up stuff that's happened. And that's saying a lot. So, WWE's having their TV deal come up soon for the United Kingdom, with BT Sport expected to expire in the next couple of years. And WWE CEO talked about the process of securing a better deal when negotiations come on. And speaking during that summit, apparently one of the ideas they have in mind is Amazon Prime Video. Yeah. Are they now realizing streaming is becoming more of the future? Though of course David Zaslav's kind of killing it with his incompetence and questionable decisions. But I'll talk about that on the Neo Reality Collective podcast down the road when I get back to it ever. But yeah, that happened, and I'm just like, okay, why not be both? You could have TV content and you could have streaming content with some extra stuff in there, like, you know, no commercials for the Prime Video to incentivize people to watch the full unedited version of the cuts, like I thought WWE Network would have done, but they still do commercials even after the whole airing thing. At least Fight TV does the thing, but you still have to pay for it. But you can still do that. They give you the uncut, unedited content, and yeah. Yeah, I don't get I don't get corporate politics. But Meltzer and PW Insider Elite have both corroborated their stories and have confirmed CM Punk will in fact return on June 17th for Collision. My God. We just need to announce the goddamn show. Like, I had gotten sick of all this whole Punk stuff. Like, I was like, oh, can we finally just move on with our fucking lives? I'll settle for no Elite versus Punk at this rate, if it means we could just resolve the issues. So, AEW Collision announced their premiere date for the United Center, Chicago. They didn't call it the Second Coming, but they might as well have just said it. So, yep, it's all but confirmed that, yeah, this is gonna happen. But I will mention this: the crowd chanted up CM Punk, so you know the hometown hero is gonna get that reaction more so than ever. And WWE, as AEW continues to expand its portfolio, WWE is open to adding a third hour to SmackDown. No, Nick Khan, don't even think about it. We already have enough dealing with Raw and the traumatic effects it does to the psyche of the children. Think of the children, damn it. And whatnot. But I'm just sitting here wondering, why, Tony? Why, Nick Khan? Why do you have to be the false Khan? Oh! Meanwhile, we got the blood effects from Fight Forever. And despite getting a massive teen rating for it, the blood was revealed, and here's the best way to describe it. They're trying their damnedest best to tell Bryan Danielson, hey Bryan, if you take off and play our game with the blood on, will you please, if you play that with your wife, please give us a call ahead of time so we can book Dynamite around the fact that you're missing, because we're pretty certain you're going to end up missing because you're extremely horny for blood. And your wife will be there to satiate your needs. But if you need to, we'll hire a babysitter even for your kids in case they don't want to hear your screaming upstairs as you get wild. Because that's how I'm looking at this. And it's hilarious. Also, joining for the Work Wrestling group, Cody Rhodes is also expected to compete in Money in the Bank, which is conveniently his 10th anniversary since he won it 10 years ago. And nothing of value was ever made from that, nearly winning it 10 years ago, and nothing of value was ever followed up with that with Damian Sandow, only for him to cash in and get it beaten by one Musina. Yeah. So, that from the rumored list, it means Damian Priest, Matt Riddle, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Logan Paul, and Cody Rhodes are on the list. So, we got 6 people. Got it. Now, LA Knight should win it just for the hell of it. Yeah. And whatnot. But I would be alright if anyone but the toxicity of Logan Paul, if anyone but Logan Paul wins it. Yes, I do not like him. We've been over this. So, over the past few weeks, we had an update with CM Punk and Tony Khan's backstage news on the meetings between them, such as Ace Steel being rehired, several Punk signing several legal documents about speaking of certain subjects like the brawl out, the disparagement clauses, and ensuring he appears at scheduled televised events. And Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Radio also reported that Punk and Tony had their final meeting this week, which is believed to have went well. A number of issues were worked out in the meeting, including an agreement that nobody will speak publicly about brawl out. I would also be like, did the Elite and you ever gonna apologize over that? Because reports have said that you want to all apologize to each other, but legal stuff stops you. As far as I'm hearing, but like, can we just do it and then we can do the feud and then we never have to talk to each other ever again? Anyways, Wrestleverse revealed to Give Me Sport about Edge's future, saying this one about his future in WWE and post-wrestling future. This one is touch and go. The last I heard on Edge was that the ball is totally in his court. It's a name the place and the person type of deal. If he signs, SmackDown in Toronto is his last match, and I want it to be against Cena. They're going to make it all that happen. I'm not saying that's going to happen. He has the respect of the entire locker room, Triple H included, and Vince included, so they're kind of going to let this guy do what he wants. It's really, really up to him. I don't think Triple H, Vince, or anybody knows. I don't even think he knows. It's just, we'll see how the body feels. Who knows? It's coming time soon. So, you know, maybe it's this year's SummerSlam. Maybe it's SmackDown Toronto in August. Maybe it's sooner, but it's up to him. It's the best way that I can put it. So, here's the thing. There have been people talking about the idea of AEW being Edge's last place to go. Since that kind of kickstarted his return to wrestling at all. Look, if Edge goes to AEW, there's only one match that really makes sense. And no, not Kenny Omega. No matter how much we would love to have seen that match, considering Kenny's move requires neck usage, we do not want Edge crippled. So everyone wants to see Edge versus Christian one last time. Christian's been doing some of his best work in a long time since he came back, and Edge going out battling his brother in arms and kayfabe brother and whatnot would be a delight to see. And AEW could at least claim that they took Edge's final match on their plate. But heading into Double or Nothing this weekend, there was a match that was planned that eventually got scrapped. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland was finally set to face off in singles action, but the match was made, and instead they were both involved in the Blackjack Battle Royale that was announced. And yeah, Dave Meltzer reported that Lee and Strickland would be participants, meaning they're playing single matches off of the pay-per-view. Why they decided not to, but it could be speculated that AEW could be saving the match for All In on August 27th. Now, here's the thing. I get it. I would have honestly wanted Swerve to win the international title just so we can add a title stipulation to this, and plus it would have added more layers to Swerve's character, especially with him touting like, see, doing this guarantees success. The proof is in the pudding, or in the international belt. And Keith Lee would say he's gonna go out, he's gonna do it with honor and you know, go like Prince Zuko. Honor, 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 honor. So, yeah. BW Torch, aka that site that has pissed me off to no end, since they had that guy Mitchell do something all those years ago. There has been apparently concerns from various talents before the reconciliation about the potential schedule they'd be asked to work with one wrestler saying they did not sign up to work for 2 TV tapings every week. Collision and with Punk on board, with CM Punk on board, will reportedly to some sort of roster split in AEW, though currently unknown at this moment. So those concerns have seemingly been allayed and handled. So, yeah. Yeah, if I was to be if the brand split does happen, soft or hard brand split, then I could see the talent being like, okay, we'll work Dynamite, and if it comes to the need to work for Collision, we don't have to be there every single week, we just need to be on one show a week. So I get it, plus Ring of Honor's around, so they could go to 3 big places. And they could go ahead and continue the other stuff. Meanwhile, AEW talent has teased their return as part of the Collision roster. And who is this talent? Well, Scorpio Sky, showing a clip from the promo video for Collision, which shows him taping up his wrists. He has not been seen for close to a year when he dropped the title. He was featured performing during the first half of last year, having 2 reigns as TNT champion. He then took time off after dropping the belt due to injury, but emerged in November 2022. The former Man of the Year had been cleared for in-ring action for some time, and simply put, AEW didn't have plans for him. I would honestly want to run it back with Ethan Page and do a feud with that, because that would be awesome. But I don't know if they're going to do that, since Matt Hardy now kind of owns Ethan Page's life and contract. Also, because Aussie Open got hurt, specifically Mark Davis, it's been reported that the Forbidden Door match between Aussie Open, Aussie, and FTR has been canned, for now at least. So it looks like it's going to be a Wembley Stadium event. But we'll get to Aussie Open back in a little bit. Meanwhile, there's been an update. Yeah, so we have had the concern regarding the budget cut stuff, the talent cut. That Fightful Select, that Better Wrestling Experience has reported that while they don't know who's scheduled to be released, cuts are subject to happen as part of an annual review. The releases are expected to be major, akin to the cuts in 2020 and 2021, but there will be some cuts here and there. Fightful Select report, however, the CEO Nick Khan told some connected within the sports agenting world around WrestleMania that there weren't plans to cut the roster at the time. I mean, he's a corporate politician. He might be lying, like they said Punk was, you remember Punk when Vince McMahon openly, in my humble opinion, lied to the investors and said that Punk was on sabbatical even though he claims he quit, and then he reveals that he got fired, to which Vince McMahon confirmed, which was on his wedding day, instead of being released out of his contract expiration because WWE are a bunch of idiots and scammers. Yeah. Oh, so Aussie Open, let's get back to them. This is a heartwarming moment. So we learned that on AEW, that Aussie Open had officially been signed to All Elite Wrestling, especially despite the fact Mark Davis is hurt and they didn't have him. In fact, they announced it on Twitter. The announcement was made after Kyle Felcher failed to defeat Orange Cassidy for the international title, and the team revealed that they were free agents back in February, and despite their push, Bush didn't sign the deals in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Aussie Open were working for New Japan without contracts, Fightful Select reported. The tag team ultimately decided to ink a deal with AEW, and several members of the Russian Tag Team division were proponents of bringing them in, and some people want to go ahead and say there was a nefarious purpose to this, but honestly, it could be either or on that. Honestly, it could be just like some people are good and they deserve to be rewarded for their goodness, even if they don't want it. And let's be real, there were ways this could have went badly, but I'll get to that. Tony Khan paid for Mark Davis's surgery before they had signed the contract. Okay, so everyone, from now on, be a Tony Khan or Mr. Beast. Don't be a Vince McMahon or Jeff Bezos. Like, that was just so awesome to hear that Mark Davis's surgery was paid by Tony Khan personally. It just shows that he does care about his workers in the wrestling business, and he's not gonna just, suck it dry until there's nothing left, or carve out his own stake in of wrestling imperialism, because that's a thing. Since the territories were destroyed, it's all about collaboration and cooperation. Damn it. However, we had bad news in the injury department. Mercedes Mone was injured during her match against Willow Nightingale in the main event of Resurgence May 21st. Sustaining an injury in her right ankle, she has underwent a thorough appraisal of her injury immediately after the match and began treatment. New Japan Pro Wrestling joins fans in wishing Monet a full and fast recovery. So the exact nature, no idea. It is believed to be a broken ankle. Mercedes had to be carried in the back after the match. At this point, there's no timetable for her return, and she herself has not commented on the injury much. Mone was originally supposed to beat Nightingale for the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's title, but changed plans on the fly due to the injury. So clearly there was a plan to continue wrestling in New Japan, but then the injury occurred. Now, here's the thing. I hope it's not a super bad injury, but I feel like the damage may be completely done here, because this isn't like a case where you could make an argument where she got injured, she'll be back, she'll be okay and whatnot. No, this is not that this time, because she will be back, she will be healed, she will recover from this. It's more or less about external forces that might stop her, because she is a Hollywood star now. She's becoming a Hollywood rising sensation, and she has openly admitted she's been working on movies and projects in the background. So that's my biggest concern, because now if she is hurt, those plans get pushed, and Hollywood could come and call and say they'll demand her to stop due to the insurance coverage, like they did with The Rock when he got hurt at WrestleMania 29. So, yeah. Yeah, it's just... It just sucks that might be the possibility that Hollywood would force her to stop wrestling, which means she'll be forced into a position where she has to pick and choose. I hope that's not the case, but I won't be surprised. Let's just hope for the best. So, Tony Khan was asked about the brand split, roster split stuff, and he just said this in the interview. I haven't given a lengthy explanation yet for what I'm planning regarding the future of the roster and how people will be allocated across Diamond and Collision and other shows. It's a great question, certainly. I can see why wrestling fans all over the world would be interested and curious about that. That's frankly by design, that we want to build that curiosity and get people wondering exactly what you're asking. What's the future of AEW's roster? What does this all mean going forward after Double or Nothing? It's a really good question and something we'll be excited to follow up on. So there is something, we just don't know what. But when Punk and the drama stuff happened, AEW had worried that if Punk couldn't work out his issues and couldn't trust and couldn't work things out to deal with Tony Khan, then they were worried that Warner Bros. Discovery's trust in Tony Khan would be damaged, which is an understandable concern. Especially if he couldn't deal with internal matters. Now, while they did not push for Punk to come back by force, they were heavily involved in his return after the media conglomerate found out about the returning was a possibility. And yeah, that is a legitimate concern we had, though honestly this is the same corporation that's being run by David Zaslav, who I've questioned everything with because he's an idiot. I'm like, I have to download Max. Let me get on a tangent. I have to download Max as a separate app, not just have HBO Max be updated, converted into the Max platform. No, I have to download a separate app entirely, as if David Zaslav wanted to remind fans and customers that, oh, you like HBO Max? Well, you can keep the dead app, but you gotta download the new app, and we'll use it to remind you every time you have to search it on your phone. That's at least my opinion. Meanwhile, there was speculation that Sting could be bowing out in August in front of the AEW's biggest crowd, but during the pre-Double or Nothing media call, President Tony Khan insisted he wants the Stinger to stick around afterwards, and there has been no talk about his final match, so we'll have to see where that happens. So, also, Tony Khan also mentioned how he thinks that during the media call, he thinks that Sabu's appearance will be a one-off, but it could open the door if it goes well, then potentially could come back and make other guest appearances. I think overall very positively received him coming in, making a surprise appearance. So I'd be open to him coming back, but it's not something I see as a regular occurrence either. It's a special moment to see Sabu. I got a text from my dad this morning saying Sabu blast from the past, because my dad actually took me to see Sabu wrestle when I was 13 years old. And when I actually saw him, the first time I ever saw Sabu wrestle was Sabu versus Chris Jericho, and it was the only time they ever wrestled. My God. So at least we got the continuity explanation. So the 4-pillar storyline. I talked about that on my review of the big match that happened at Double or Nothing, but we have learned that Cassie Haynes, BodySlam.net has reported that the creative person responsible for writing the storyline for the entire 4-pillar stuff program has been none other than MJF. So he's been the one who planned all this out, wrote up the plans and whatnot. On the one hand, I love the idea that he got to get his vision out. On the other hand, he probably should have had a mini feud happening in between, like trying to establish there's a 5th pillar. Like, here's the thing: if I was the booker and MJF told me this plan, I would like hear him out and hear it, but I'd be like, look, there's a massive gap between post-Revolution all the way to Double or Nothing. We have enough time to do something like that, but I think that mini feud needs to be in order as well to make this work, in order to make sure we don't like add pointless filler. How about during this we get someone who wants to become the new pillar of AEW, or someone who could be considered the 5th pillar by many fans, like Ricky Starks, or Lee Moriarty, or anyone who's at that level where people believe he could be also a pillar, or a second set of pillars that we could do a match for a title eliminator match where if the wrestler wins, he gets to be added to the 4-way and it becomes a 5-way match, and you beat him and remove him from the equation. That would be the way to balance it out and give MJF more character interactions and more ways to creatively work this out. Sadly, that didn't happen, but MJF did write out this storyline, and Tony Khan approved it, so yeah. Meanwhile, speaking of MJF and whatnot, and learning from the best and finding things out, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns internally is considered WWE's ultimate destination match. WrestleMania 4 is considered a strong possibility for the next rematch, but those plans could change over the next 11 months, especially if WWE shoots itself in the foot. And this is WWE, they'll shoot themselves in the foot eventually. But they've also considered, like I mentioned previously, Cody versus Volta. So, yeah, and Triple H's reasoning still sucks. Also, we're being reported that there are going to be absent wrestlers in AEW because from the Forbidden Door show, because El Idolo, and the same goes for Lucha Brothers, Bandito, Comanda, Rush, Dalestico, due to Triple A's relationship with CMLL, and Triple A has a very strenuous history. So I'm gonna be that guy that says Triple A, CMLL, just work it out, damn it. I want to see these great luchador wrestlers kick ass and take names. And if I don't get it, I'm gonna fight them. So one of the things about one of the 4 pillars, Darby Allin, is that he's insane. So, speaking to Drinks with Johnny podcast on that, he spoke about his plans to go on Mount Everest in 2024, and he said this: we want to most likely document the whole thing like Discovery, some type of team like Discovery. We got connections at Warner and staff. It'd be really cool to do, but I want to summit it, and then sometime next month I gotta make my will, so if I die on the mountain, somebody will win this guy right here, which is Darby Allin's dog. Gotta make that will, and then just gotta see where all the dogs are gonna go and the house would go for whatever reason, if there's a huge ass avalanche. As to why he's going to attempt Everest is because he just wants to see if he can do it, which is the expected. I've been doing a lot of meditating, and a big part of climbing Mount Everest is to prove myself I'm capable of something so insane, because it's just, I don't know. My day-to-day life, like doing crazy shit, I've said in promos, like I to do crazy because it breaks down the barriers in my head, and I feel like I get stronger, because become like the final boss of what Darby Allin is, and whatnot. And I'm just like, I think they're like, what's next? After Everest, you're gonna try and jump over Mount St. Helens? Actually, I could see that coming, honestly, let's be real. But, yeah. Goddamn. Darby, don't die on us, man. You need to be here for 10 more years. So, it's been reported, that, a major match planned for Forbidden Door 2. Wrestling's Over newsletter Dave Meltzer has revealed promotional material for the tournament, hinted the winner would challenge Kenny Omega for the gold, and Meltzer reported that Will Ospreay is indeed scheduled to beat Archer at Dominion. The belief is that he will then face Kenny Omega on June 25th. A potential hiccup could be Ospreay's injury, though. Despite returning to the ring, the shoulder was still bothering the 30-year-old during his win over Hiroshi Tanahashi. If he will need to take additional time off, it's currently unknown. Okay, here's my plan. How about Archer fights Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door? I know, everyone hates that idea. Hear me out. We have Will Ospreay take some time off, at best do promo work on AEW, and we instead have the big match at All In Wembley Stadium. He said he wants to do All In. That's the best match to do it. If you're not going to do the Elite versus CMFTR, then that's the next best shot. Damn it. So WWE has to come up with a reasoning why they didn't have hesitation. WWE higher-ups have apparently told Spiteful Select that, no, we deny it. We are vehemently denying a hesitation about putting Seth in a prominent spot or role with a world championship because of his Hollywood commitments. I kind of could imagine you would be hesitant because you're idiots. So I'm still going with my opinion. So, AEW is still struggling to fill out arenas for the show, probably because of wrestling fatigue. But I think if you add more quality matches, you might be able to do something like that. But, we'll have to see how that goes. And, AEW's United Center debut is doing well. And Tony Khan then weirdly came out and revealed that, that the deal with Collision is an addition to the current TV deal they have with Warner Bros. Discovery and not a new deal. What? You mean this is not like a reporter said this or said that, but it's more like Tony Khan coming out on the media call and say, no, Collision is just an extension of our deal with our current deal. And I was like, what? Shouldn't that have been like another TV deal with renewal or extension or contract talk? Not just, it's still the TV contract could still end this year. It could get extended the next year. It's not like a big thing. But, yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention Dominic Mysterio is also being considered for Money in the Bank, so that's 8 competitors. Just anyone that's not Logan Paul, please. So, at Night of Champions, Seth Rollins and AJ Styles opened up Night of the pay-per-view instead of closing it, because that would have made no sense in this context. Now, first of all, I would have preferred it with the ending show close out, but people were mad because they only gave credence to the belt being a secondary title compared to the Supreme God that is Roman Reigns. It's not. They already said it. but they've already acknowledged that it's a consolation belt. But according to reports, that the reason they opened the show was because Seth Rollins will be flying out of Saudi Arabia immediately to resume filming Captain America New World Order, according to Better Wrestling Experience. And that was that guy that was singing in the background that's like, yep, that sounds about right. I'm surprised they didn't just have Seth Rollins lose the match. But as long as he gets to get out of that country before everything goes to hell, aka if Vince McMahon does something incredibly stupid, like what happened last time, years back, we avoid that. But yeah, that has been the talk of the town. Also, according to Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer, take it with the salt you need. Regarding the brand split idea, we've been told that it changes every day and will continue to change until the show is on the air and probably continue to change after that based on how successful the show is. He was asked about it and gave no answer, saying he wanted to build curiosity. So yeah, we've been getting back and forth with it. Dave Meltzer has also repeatedly said it was going to be a hard brand split, then it's a soft brand split, then there's a rotation split. And I'm that guy that's like, are you just going to make up answers and make up commandments out of nowhere like your Elon Musk running Twitter? We already have enough of that. Like, here we are, the new commandment. And oh, nope, not this one. Nope. Here we are, the new commandment. Oh, nope, not this one. Here we go, the final commandment. And whatnot. Just annoying. And Damian Priest is officially considered a main event, potential main eventer in WWE ever since his match with Bad Bunny. Hooray! Work Wrestling continues to report it. So I could see him become World Heavyweight Champion and whatnot. And I would love it. I would love him being World Champion. I think Finn Balor would have a problem with it from storyline context, but it would still be a damn good match. But yeah. Darby Allin has been speaking also about the brand split talk, and he reveals that he is in favor of a hard brand split for AEW Collision. Speaking of ET Canada, he discussed about the potential plans and said this: I'm excited because if it's a hard brand split, when there is a dynamite in the Collision, it gives people more opportunity to be seen. With our roster, that's all you can ask for. It's a loaded roster with a lot of hungry people. Bring it on. It would be so fun to me. Mostly because I can do wicked stuff. Because I'm Darby freaking Allin. Oh, and Tony Khan reveals that he recently spoke to Goldberg during the media scrum. God damn it. And Tony Khan, while having not officially detailed anything yet about the brand split, Purple Slick reported that AEW Talent were informed over Double or Nothing that Collision may begin as a soft brand split before developing into a harder brand split. Talent weren't told any specifics, however. My God. Yeah, that sounds about right. Also, for those who have been wondering why Jamie Hayter lost the title, I can take the wildest guesses because she was injured and they had to find a way to get her off TV. And yeah, there was a concern that she wouldn't have been able to wrestle at Double or Nothing, and the pay-per-view clash was booked for plenty of shenanigans after it became clear the champion wouldn't be able to work a full match. So yeah, anyone who didn't know, I'll be surprised. Kenny Omega, after the Hellacious Anarchy in the Arena match, has been teasing 2 non-AEW potential reinforcements for the Elite following Double or Nothing. Oh boy, I wonder if it's a Rainmaker and a Golden Lover. Oh, and Tony Khan's also bragging that we haven't released a new figure yet, but we're roughly at 65,000 fucking tickets. We're well over the $8 million mark, where the exchange rate changes with pounds. So when I say that, I mean 8 million going on 9 million that we're closing in on. Damn it! Let's fucking go! And Great American Bash special for NXT is set for July 30th because America. You know, wouldn't it make more sense to do it on July 4th since, if I'm correct, that's a Tuesday? Yeah, it's a Tuesday, so why not just do that? Also, after 60 victories and over 500 plus day reign, Chris Statlander has lost the TBS. Chris Statlander has taken the TBS title following her return, and Jade Cargill is no more. That well, it first emerged back in March that Chris Statlander was originally booked to beat the streak of Jade Cargill, and they had to revise those plans because she got hurt, and yeah, ultimately had to revisit those plans at Double or Nothing. So finally. So Chris Statlander came back, toppled Jade Cargill after her match with Taya Valkyrie, and long and behold, TBS Championship. Hooray! We did it! There's no way Double or Nothing could have been a disaster. MJF is injured, isn't he? Yes, he is. Well, we don't know the severity of it, but he mentioned how his forearm is kind of effed up, and we kind of know when the moment happened when we look at the footage. Freeman's arm is beat up because during the top rope powerbomb spot, he landed on his arm unceremoniously, and his left arm had to be heavily taped up. He even referenced the injury, saying that people didn't care about his forearm being during one of his customary rants about the fans. Severity is unknown. I hope it's not severe, because I will cry. God damn it. But yeah, MJF is injured, and we do not know the circumstances of what's going to happen. Is he going to still be champion while he's recovering, since he's doing the whole part-time shtick? Or are they going to have him drop it? Because we can't do another interim title reign for a while. The last year's worth of goddamn interim titles waned on everyone and their psyche. But yeah, that is about it for our podcast tonight. NRE Wrestlverse Podcast, episode 8. My God, this was fun. Glad to provide you all with news and opinions on my stuff on wrestling, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again next time. This is your host, Eric Brown of NRE the Wrestleverse, NRE Wrestlverse Podcast, Neo Reality Collective, and Neo Reality Entertainment owner. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, check out my other content in the description below. Oh, and by the way, the show is finally up on Apple podcast platforms, so check that out. Check this out too. You'll be seeing it too as well on YouTube. I'll see you all again next time. Take care and have a good evening, everybody. Peace out.